They buried Napoleon in a massive tomb beneath Les Invalides in Paris, layers deep, so visitors had to bow just to see him. But in 1940, after taking Paris, Hitler came to see the tomb and ordered the ashes of Napoleon's son, once buried far away, to be moved beside him. It was Hitler's twisted show of respect for a man he saw as a fellow conqueror, a dictator honoring a dead emperor. He was the most feared man in Europe, until one rainy day in 1815 changed everything. Napoleon thought he had one more win in him, but at Waterloo the tides turned. Mud slowed his army, the Prussians showed up late, and by sunset the emperor's reign was over. One battle, one mistake, and the fall of a legend. History flipped in a single day. Imagine this: a teenage George Washington, not yet the father of a nation, but a surveyor trudging through the wild forests of Virginia. Most people don't know he never had a college education, yet by age 20, he was mapping land, fighting on the frontier, and learning the skills that would one day make him a general. Here's the wild part: he actually lost more battles than he won, but his resilience is what made him legendary. Washington wasn't born a hero, he built himself into one.
Meet the Panzer VIII Maus, the heaviest tank ever built. It weighed 188 tons, had a 128-millimeter cannon, and was basically a rolling bunker. It was so massive it crushed bridges just by existing. The plan? Make it unstoppable. The reality? It could barely move, hit 8 miles per hour max, and never saw real combat. Only 2 were built and 1 broke. Biggest tank ever, and maybe the biggest fail too.
This is the Gustav gun. Used during World War II, it is the biggest gun ever built. It weighed 1,350 tons, needed 500 men to operate, and could fire a shell over 29 miles. It was so powerful it could blast through 7 feet of concrete or 100 feet of earth. Only fired 48 times before disappearing into history. In 1838, over 60,000 Native Americans were forced to walk thousands of miles at gunpoint. It was called the Trail of Tears, and for good reason. Thousands died from cold, hunger, and disease, all because the U.S. wanted their land. This happened not that long ago. If you didn't learn this in school, maybe more people should.
In 1849, thousands of people dropped everything chasing one thing: gold. San Francisco went from a sleepy town of 1,000 to over 25,000 almost overnight. People lived in tents, built shacks, and risked everything, all for a shot at striking it rich. Some got lucky, most didn't. But the chaos turned San Francisco into a booming city almost overnight. It wasn't just a gold rush, it was the wild start of the West. They ruled the Andes without a written language. No wheels, no money, just stone cities in the clouds. The Inca didn't write history, they wove it, literally. Their record-keeping system, knotted strings called quipus, and their traditions, rooted in the stars, the earth, and sacred mountains. Every ritual honored Pachamama, Mother Earth, planting, harvesting, even war. Nothing happened without her blessing.
Did the CIA really try to turn a cat into a spy? Yes, and it failed instantly. In the 1960s, the CIA launched Acoustic Kitty, a top-secret mission to implant listening devices inside a live cat, hoping it could eavesdrop on Soviet meetings. They trained it, wired it up, and on its first mission, it ran into traffic and got hit by a taxi. Mission over. $20 million gone. In 1940, a critical letter warning the Allies about Hitler's plans was delayed, just days too late. If it had arrived on time, millions of lives might have been saved. This small delay changed the course of World War II forever. Did you know the US and Soviet Union once battled using music? During the Cold War, America sent jazz musicians like Louis Armstrong overseas. The Soviets answered with ballet and classical tours. It was called musical diplomacy, a silent war for global influence. No guns, just trumpets. Did you know one of the Great Lakes' biggest ships vanished without a single distress call? The Edmund Fitzgerald was a massive freighter, over 700 feet long, hauling iron ore across Lake Superior. On November 10, 1975, it was caught in a brutal storm, 35-foot waves, hurricane-force winds, and just like that, it disappeared. All 29 crew members were lost. To this day, no one knows exactly why it sank. The rise and fall of city-states in ancient Greece.
Wars between the Greek city-states continued for almost a century, leaving them exhausted and vulnerable to a new rising power to the north. For centuries, sophisticated Greeks had viewed the mountainous kingdom of Macedonia as a backwater, Hicksville, barely Greek at all.
And that is what led to how Macedonia dominated ancient warfare.
But under King Philip II, Macedonia emerged as a formidable military force. His most famous reform? The introduction of the sarissa, an 18-foot pike, twice the length of a normal Greek spear, and wielded by trained infantry, fighting in close formation, known as a phalanx.
Everyone thinks Vikings wore horned helmets into battle. Wrong. Archaeologists found zero evidence of that. The horns came from 19th century operas and art. Vikings actually wore simple, practical helmets. So where did the horn myth come from? Theater, myths, and pop culture. History gets weird sometimes. In 1932, Australia declared war on emus. Yes, huge flightless birds. Farmers were losing crops, so the military showed up with machine guns. But the emus outsmarted the soldiers every time. The birds won the strangest war ever. This 2,000-year-old gear was found in a shipwreck, and it's basically an ancient computer. It predicted eclipses and tracked planets. It's called the Antikythera mechanism, ancient Greek tech way ahead of its time.
Most people know William Wallace from Braveheart, but the real story is even wilder. Wallace wasn't a poor farmer. He was actually a minor noble, trained as a knight. After the English tried to crush Scotland, Wallace sparked a rebellion, leading guerrilla raids that terrified King Edward's forces. His greatest victory came at the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297, where a smaller Scottish army crushed the English thanks to clever tactics. But Wallace's war didn't last. He was captured in 1305, brutally executed in London, and his body cut apart as a warning. Still, his defiance lit the fire for Scottish independence and made him a legend far beyond the movie screen. Top 5 most deadly people in history. At number 5, Vlad the Impaler, the real Dracula, infamous for impaling tens of thousands of enemies. Number 4, Leopold II of Belgium. His rule in the Congo led to millions of deaths through brutal exploitation. At 3, Adolf Hitler, whose war and genocide cost over 40 million lives. Number 2, Joseph Stalin, with purges, forced famines, and gulags that killed millions in the Soviet Union. And number 1, Genghis Khan, the Mongol conqueror whose campaigns wiped out entire cities, leaving an estimated 40 million dead.
The Great Pyramid once gleamed with a golden capstone, but today it's missing. Stolen by treasure hunters, melted for its gold, or hidden by ancient secrets. Archaeologists still debate what happened to this lost crown of Egypt's most famous monument. In the 1800s, soldiers and civilians did something wild. They held picnics, right on battlefields, even while battles were happening nearby. Imagine eating sandwiches as cannons fired and armies clashed just yards away. It sounds crazy, but it shows how people found moments of normalcy in the chaos of war. History is full of surprises. In 1518, residents of Strasbourg were struck by a mysterious dancing mania where hundreds danced non-stop for days. No one knew why. It wasn't music or celebration, but a strange compulsion that caused exhaustion, injuries, and even death. Historians still debate what caused this bizarre dancing plague. In 1919, a poorly built molasses tank in Boston burst from a sudden temperature rise and pressure buildup, unleashing a 25-foot wave moving 35 miles per hour. Buildings were crushed, horses swept away, and 21 people died. Locals said you could still smell molasses on hot days for decades. Did you know Napoleon was once attacked by a horde of bunnies? In 1807, Napoleon planned a rabbit hunt to celebrate a treaty. But instead of fleeing, hundreds of tame bunnies charged at him, because his staff had bought farm rabbits, not wild ones.